Hello, Nick David. So I've looked over your lesson plan, have some feedback for you. I'm just going to use the rubric and go straight down the rubric looking at the different sections to talk about, to give you feedback on those. So the first section on the rubric is that elements and presentation, and we're looking good in these sections here, but I still need you to fill out these sections here. So, for necessary materials, you would put things like, you would need a projector and sound and stuff like that. I mean, you want to kind of make your lesson plans idiot proof for the days when you're too tired to think straight. You can just look and go, okay, these are the things that I need for the day, okay? Then in prior content knowledge, you're either going to look to what you taught them in a previous class that's relevant to this class, like lesson plan 1 to lesson plan 2, or you're going to look to the academic standards and see what kind of content knowledge they have been worked through previously that you expect to help them build upon. Okay, then new content knowledge is going to be taken. It's your way to rewrite, to grab some key phrases and put them in just plain speak from your evidence outcomes. Okay, so let's get those elements of presentation all completed. All right, on to the desired results section. I was glad to see that you limited yourself down to 2 specific evidence outcomes. I recommend no more than 2. This one I see obviously clearly addressed, determine the meaning of words. And this one, relating a literary work to primary source documents, you have this one addressed because I looked at your that newspaper article thing, which is super cool looking, by the way. Here's one piece that I'm going to push you for, though, okay? If you're going to put something in the established goals section of your lesson plan, it's not because you're asking the students to look at it. It's not because you're asking the students to do something with it. It's because you're directly going to address that content and skill, like the skills needed to read that content, in your lesson plan. So we either want it addressed in the direct instruction or the guided model area. And I'm going to show you how I want you to address that, because I don't want you to get rid of this. It belongs here. It's perfect. We just want to get it addressed in the guided area, in the direct instruction piece. Okay? All right, so hang in there. I'll come back to that. Okay, your essential questions global are fantastic. My criteria for those is asking ourselves if real people talk about those questions outside of academia, and I think clearly they do. Those are interesting questions. Your essential questions from the content area are well done as well. What I look to for that is to see if they align with your evidence outcomes and or your content, and in this case they do. Nicely done. In your students will be able to, I'm going to push you to get that by clause. You have to define connotation and denotation in a worksheet. Oh, look at that. You have it. You just tricked me because you didn't use the word by. To define connotation and definition by completing a worksheet. You just used in a worksheet. You're fine. You don't need to make a change. And you have the by clause right there. You tricked me. Your students will understand is well done too, because those things don't need by clauses. They're really much more of an abstract understanding we're going for. Okay, so there's desired results section. Your assessment section is fine. I don't know if you remember, at this point I'm not necessarily grading assessment section. I'm looking for completion and alignment, and you meet both of those standards. Okay, on to the learning plan and the second page of your rubric as well. I think that you have an engaging opening. I watched that YouTube video. That was hilarious. I am so going to use Spifflicated henceforth. I'm excited about that. So yeah, super engaging opening. Really, it has a direct link to what you want the kids doing today. And then the fact that you have this piece in here too really helps you connect with your students on a human level, asking them to bring their experiences as legitimate learning into the classroom. And so I love this. Beautiful, very well done. Okay, the steps that you include in this, moving from your engagement piece into student, engagement into specifics for what you're doing for the day are very well done. It's very fluid. It's easy for me to follow. I think that you hardly even need transitions. It just flows so well. Okay. Here we've got a little bit of guided practice here, right? Like what does safe mean, denotative, connotatively. Here's a funny example of groovy, beautifully done. You have them practice again with Ovaltine. And hold on, I'm slowing down because I'm looking for that spot. Right here. Okay. You have. All right, very nice. Well, it seems that you guys get it. Now I want you to go to the newspaper article I just passed out and continue to work on this worksheet. For the third section of the worksheet, you'll be using words from Chapter 2 of Great Gatsby. Okay, here's where I want you to pause and do some more direct instruction. Up until this point right here, you have been... Okay, I'm going to try a sports analogy, and you know this may not work very well, right? You've been doing like these really slow, easy pitches. It's super easy. You're asking them to talk about slang that they use all the time. You're asking them to talk about words like, health, which is a common word. You're asking them to look at visual images, which advertisements. Kids today are very visual learners. They're inundated with it. These have been slow, easy pitches, okay? And now you're turning over to them to do their independent practice inside of a primary text document, so newspaper from the 1920s, and inside of The Great Gatsby, which is a complex piece of literature. Here's what I want you to do. Bear with me while I scroll. Okay. See how this says, and you've got, scrolled too much, sorry. You've got 10th graders. So let's be realistic. Like these kids have been in school for like 8, 9, 10 years, right? I think 10, right? Would you do K through 9 would be 10 years, right? Okay. And they've done determining the meaning of words from context before, okay? They may not have been asked to do this from a primary resource document and from a complex piece of literature, though, okay? So I want you to push a little further and give them some steps or some strategies, as it were, for when they hit those words that they don't know, okay? And they're probably things, no, not probably. I mean, if you're at this level in our program, right, you already know how to do this stuff. You're good at this stuff. You do it without even thinking. When you're reading a complex piece of literature and you hit a word that you don't know, A, you skip it. B, you read the sentence again. C, you look around for some of those clues like restrictive clauses offset with commas, right? Because those are often appositives. You kind of build some context from what's going on in the situation in the book. Hell, you use a dictionary, right? Oh, which by the way, today's Friday, October 9th, and this is National Dictionary Day. Happy National Dictionary Day. There you go. So I want you to actually give them some strategies and list the strategies out, right? Here are what strong readers do. They skip it or they learn about it, right? And if you're not going to skip it and you're not going to look it up in a dictionary, then how do you do this? How do you search for context clues? 1, look for a phrase offset with commas. Okay, what are those? Those are appositives. Digress a tiny bit into grammar, let them know, blah, blah, blah. Give them some examples. 2, think about the context of the situation and who's talking. Is that a character talking? Is it another character talking? Is it narrator? What kind of a person says a word like that? Oh my God. This person totally prides himself on like sounding like the smartest person in the room. It's totally likely this is a big word for something totally simple. Oh, this is the narrator, so he wants to explain stuff. Right, see what I'm saying? Work them through their ability to determine the meaning of words and phrases as they're used in text, including figurative and connotative meanings, in a complex piece of literature. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Otherwise, my gosh, your lesson plan is great. I love the fact that you found that YouTube video, found that like that newspaper page. It really tells me you're thinking deeply about these lesson plans, that you're doing a good job at imaginative practice. The flow of your lesson plan was really good. I just want to press you forward a little bit more into direct instruction and a little bit less into, kicking the kids off the cliff so soon. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Thanks.